Greetings and beyond the new, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dermy Warman. We're here with Superman, and boy, oh boy, is this movie a heck of a ride, because I'm gonna be honest out the gate with you guys. If this movie happened to be a sequel to another Superman movie, I'd probably be a little bit more forgiving with it. But considering that this is the first official outing for the DCU, it is incredibly disappointing. Having an okay movie out the gate isn't a good move when you want to jumpstart a brand new cinematic universe. And let me not mince words here, ladies and gentlemen. This movie is nowhere near a cinematic masterpiece, and it's not a turn your brain off, have dumb fun kind of a movie either. This movie really feels like it has no actual direction the entire time, and it doesn't feel like an actual Superman movie. Because already out the gate, when you first see Superman, he's quite literally in the Yamcha pose from get-go. And by doing that, you have undercut Superman's strength out the gate. And then you start on this massive journey of just watching Superman react to everything that's going on around him instead of going on an interesting quest and trying to overcome some sort of adversity. No, it's quite literally thing happen, go do thing. Thing happen, go do new thing. It's not even a fetch quest like it was over in Jurassic World. This is quite literally things are just happening around Superman and Superman is reacting to them. Because when it actually comes to the overall plot of the movie, there's not a whole lot there. Lex Luthor wants to become king of a nation, is teaming up with one nation to invade another nation so he can then become king of said nation, and all at the same time is trying to frame Superman as being an invader who wants to conquer Earth so that he can actually, well, kill him. And it's up to Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen to clear Superman's name. Because even when it comes to the overall concept or idea of framing Superman as being a conqueror from another world, it actually wasn't really that difficult for Lex Luthor to do, because after they invade the Fortress of Solitude, they encounter recordings from Jor-El where it openly says that Superman was sent here to rule over the entirety of the human race and to collect his own secret harem to procreate over and over and over again. And to be real honest with you guys, I was 100% willing to bet that James Gunn was gonna have this be a ploy by Lex Luthor. They mistranslated the actual snippet from Jor-El, and he's lying about what's going on there. Nope, that's actually the case. Jor-El and the Kryptonians legitimately just sent Superman here to conquer the Earth. And Superman didn't know that, so again, all he's doing is reacting. It really does feel like Superman's more along for the ride with this movie than anything else and isn't even overcoming anything. Yes, he fights a giant kaiju, but everything else is him turning himself in and then reacting to what's going on there. Outside of all of that, though, there's even more issues with the movie. The James Gunn jokes really only land a few times during the entire movie, and they do just what they used to do in the MCU and ruin entire climactic moments where you could have a great scene going on there, but then you get a dumb joke to try to ruin it. The other issues were, well, some of the other characters that they added in, and I'm gonna focus in on two of them. Crypto really just needs to be euthanized, and Metamorpho is quite literally just a massive crybaby wimp that has a demon baby child. Another issue is, well, it was really clear that James Gunn cared more about making a Justice Gang movie dealing with Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl instead of making a Superman movie. Because when it came to the Justice Gang stuff, that stuff was pretty fun. They seemed like likable characters and characters I would like to see in their own unique movie. I just didn't want to have them bogging down the Superman movie, because all that kind of worked towards what James Gunn usually does with the quirky, unique characters that he somehow finds a way to make very likable in the end. I know Nathan Fillion should have just been Hal Jordan, but he did do a pretty decent job at playing Guy Gardner, and Mr. Terrific really did stand out, mainly because he's actually one of the people that helped save the day. Yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Superman's not an actual hero in his movie, but Mr. Terrific, Lois, and Jimmy Olsen are. But the points that I do actually have to praise are this. I love the Kent family dynamic. When I see Clark is taken back to the Kent farm and I see how the Kents are interacting with Clark, I could actually tell that they loved, cared, and wanted to support Clark in all of his endeavors, even while he was Superman. Even at the beginning of the movie, you do have this very heartwarming interaction between them where Ma Kent is calling Clark on a cell phone, and being that she's, well, a Midwest farmer, she's talking at the table instead of actually holding the phone up. And when it comes to the father-son interactions between Pa Kent and Clark, that was just heartwarming heartwarming. I have to give it a round of applause because I was really moved by it. And considering that I myself am from Kansas, I did feel like that was an interaction that even me and my own father would have. So I saw what was going on there and I cared for it, and I have to give it props where props are due. Also, David Cornsweet, given all the material that he was given, is a decent Superman. Yes, he has those emotional outbreak moments that make me roll my eyes and start questioning who the heck is on the screen right here, but David Cornsweet really does do the best he can with the material he's given. And there is a wonderful moment more towards the end where Superman stands down Lex Luthor and has a really compelling speech and actually chews up scenery in that moment, and I thought it had some sort of gravitas, but then it was ultimately ruined by the fact that Krypto exists. But I have to also say the real star of this entire movie was Nicholas Hoult for me. I thought he did a phenomenal performance as Lex Luthor. He actually seemed intimidating, very terrifying, very cold and calculating, not caring about the actual ramifications of what's going on there, solely wanting to just destroy Superman. You also see some of his more political savvy natures going on here, the cold calculating businessman, his uncaring nature towards living beings itself. I loved how he actually gave this performance. And it did somewhat remind me of some of the old animated Lex Luthor back from Superman the Animated Series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Maybe not with the same level of gravitas there, but a relatively equal level of intimidation. At the end of the day though, when it comes to the Superman movie, it's literally just okay. I don't hate it. I'm more disappointed with it. But like I've said already, there are moments in which I found heartwarming, I found charming, I found something to it that did put a smile on my face. And if it was a sequel to a pre-established Superman movie, I'd probably be a little bit more forgiving of it. I would still say that it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if it was a sequel, I'd probably give it about a 6 out of 10 style of a movie. But since it is the first movie for the DCU, our first Superman movie, it doesn't hold up to snuff. And it is disappointing to see something like this where there is obviously things that you could have worked with here and ran with the entire time. But James Gunn couldn't get out of his own way and very clearly just wanted to make a Justice Gang movie instead of Superman. So with that all being said, I can't in all honesty give it anything higher than maybe a 4.5 to 5 out of 10. And if that ending with Millie Alcock is anything to go off of, I really don't want to see more of this universe as it is. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, shout out friends, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.